Good afternoon, everybody. I clap too when I hear about the success of Radio 1 because, while I've been with the company for the past 7+ years, the company itself is 23 years old. And so let's not lose sight of the fact that there have been a lot of people, including Mr. McCain, who came before me and contributed to the success of this enterprise. Of course, it was founded by Kathy Hughes, and of course her son Alfred Liggins has done an amazing job of sort of setting the vision and the framework for what the team, all 1,800 of us who now work at Radio 1, have helped create over the past 23 years. And so while I feel very fortunate to be a part of this team, that's all I am, is a part of this team. Now, it just so happens that I'm the finance guy, and I know a little bit about raising money and dealing with investors and helping Alfred and Miss Hughes execute against their vision and their strategy. But I am hardly the person who's going to take anywhere near full responsibility for the success of Radio 1. And of course, without probably everybody in this room, our listeners, our advertisers, and the folks with whom we do business, we could not be successful either. So I think we're very mindful that life and business are sort of holistic things, and there are lots of components that contribute to success. And so I'd like to give all of you a round of applause for helping us become the company that we are today. Thank you. Now, take a big breath, because I got a lot to say, and I hope I'm not going to put people to sleep. Normally when you give presentations, they ask that you sort of keep it concise and stay focused on about 5 topics that you want to cover. I probably have about 100 different things I want to go over with you all, and at the end of the day, I'm going to try to narrow it down and hopefully focus on just a few things that matter. But I've been asked to help you all sort of think about how you can make more money, create more value for shareholders, be successful, grow businesses, start businesses. We could be here, for the next couple of days talking about that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make a presentation to you that really talks about the process that we've gone through of growing Radio 1 and the lessons that we've learned. And I want this to be less about Radio 1 than it is about how you can use the lessons learned from what we've learned at Radio 1 in your own enterprises. So to whatever extent that you can sort of leverage off of all of the wins that we've had, all of the pain that we've gone through, all of the visions that we've created and executed against, if that is in any way transferable to your business, then hopefully I will have been somewhat successful. And I also want little guys like this who are going to grow up one day to hopefully stand up here and talk about even bigger and better things to take away a lot from what we're going to talk about today. I also have a lot of slides here that are going to be somewhat focused on our experience. But again, to whatever extent you can take away just little kernels of knowledge that relate to what we've been through, I think will hopefully be helpful to you all. So while some of these things are very specific to our experience, keep in mind that by tweaking these things a little bit, I think that you'll find that they could be leverageable into your business enterprises, or at least your thinking as to what you want to do relative to business. I also want this to be interactive. I'm actually going to ask you all some questions as I go through this, and I would be happy to entertain questions as I go through the presentation. So you don't necessarily need to keep your thoughts to the end of the presentation. I think it just keeps it a lot more dynamic and also keeps folks from falling asleep, because otherwise I'm just going to stand up here for the next hour and talk, and you'll probably all be asleep by the time I'm done. And one last thing, there is a book called Make the Leap, Shift from Corporate Worker to Entrepreneur. It was written by a woman by the name of Geneva G. Fulbright. And she asked me, she's actually a friend of our vice president of finance, a woman by the name of Debbie Cowan, and Geneva asked me to write a chapter for this book on going public. And so I did that. But she got other folks to contribute to this book as well. And it's actually a pretty interesting document. It provides interesting templates for how to think about moving from the corporate world, how to start a business, how to grow a business, how to evolve a business. I don't have enough for the crowd. I've probably got 20 copies. So I think what I'm going to do, and I hope nobody gets offended by this, is I'm going to ask some questions. People answer the questions correctly, get a book. Any particularly insightful questions, particularly ones that I can't answer, you get a book. So, and if we run out, we'll figure out a way to get more at some other point in time. Let's run through the agenda here. I'm going to give an overview of Radio 1. I want to talk about some of the options for the future of your business, talk about financing sources, because obviously capital is extremely important for any business enterprise. Pre-IPO actions and strategies. I know that not everybody in this room is sitting here thinking about taking companies public, and to some extent you might think, well, I've got a fairly small business. I don't even know if I even want to go public, if I'll even get to the point one day where I want to be or can be a public company. I guess what I'd like to convey to you is there are lots of reasons why, even if you're a small private company, there are actions that you should take, strategies that you should deploy and employ in your enterprise that are conceptual and may in fact prepare you to go public, but frankly may not necessarily be things that you need that need to be in place for you to go public. But on the other hand, I also want you to keep in mind that if you can operate your companies like public companies, even if you're small and private, your company will be that much better off, will have that much more room to grow, and I think will be that much more accepted in the marketplace. So keep in mind that going public is something that very few companies in the scheme of things do. But at the end of the day, if you can sort of run your business like a public company, I think you'll find that at the end of the day, you'll be able to create a lot of value and wealth for yourself and your shareholders because you take that mindset to how you run your business. We'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges that we've faced over the years in terms of managing and growing the businesses at certain stages along its evolutionary path. And then I actually have another section, sort of a sidebar section on why go public. And if it's relevant, if it's something that people want me to talk about, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, if it's not necessarily relevant to the crowd, we'll just go ahead and avoid that part for now.